we can kind of switch gears to the NBA as we get into the season, and we get closer and closer to the season. We'll kind of unveil our predictions for where we see the seeding going to be for both the Eastern and Western Conference. We'll obviously get into who we think is going to who's going to end up ultimately winning the championship, some of the awards as the season as we get closer and closer to the season. But with that being said, we can go ahead and start off with our Eastern Conference preview.
Yeah.
And where we have our seating for the Eastern Conference. So, Chris, you over there cheesing and shit, but I know Cass want to get into it. So Cass, let's hear what shit you got.
Basketball different, boy. It's a
Yeah,
different.
basketball is
different. I'm so ready.
Speak up.
I'm so ready for this.
Yeah,
shit to come
speak
back,
up,
boy.
nigga.
All right. So of course, last year, the East finished, Bucks 1, Celtics 2, 76ers 3, Cavs 4, and you had Knicks, Nets, Hawks, Heat, and then and then the bottom feeders, Raptors, and then the bottom feeders. So I honestly think it will be close to the same this year. I don't think there hasn't been much movement in the East outside of those top two teams. The 76ers pretty much had the same squad. They got they're expecting improvements from Maxey, and expecting just more cohesion overall. And we'll see what happens with James Harden, of course.
New coach.
And a new coach for sure. New system, and I know I've been putting them some of them quotes in our group, but they on Doc Head. They're like all in love with Nick Nurse's new system.
With that being said, a lot of these guys be coming at Doc's head after he gets fired, and then lo and behold, they're the same team or worse. So that is also something to keep in mind.
That, yeah. And Doc called that out when he left the Clippers, and they were talking that shit, and they were like, "Hey, look."
They did get to the Western Conference Finals, but aside from that, it ain't look too much different.
Yeah. So Cavs, they brought in some ancillary pieces. They didn't change their core, which can be a good thing. That continuity, especially with Darius and Donovan and Jared and Evan. So I'm excited to see what they do. Hawks didn't do. They got the same squad. I like a lot of these teams. Hawks, Nets. Nets got Ben coming back. Knicks, all these teams pretty much have the same squad as last year, just a couple of new pieces. And that's nothing to really move them up. Pacers got Bruce Brown, which is a good pickup. And that bumped them up a couple spots, to me, make the play in. But how I got it shaken out, one, or should I start from the bottom?
I was gonna say I only did the top 10.
I did all 15, but we can do top 10.
Yeah,
we do top 10. We do.
Try to worry about them bottom figures.
Hornets, Pistons, Wizards, Magic. Those are my people that I have.
Hornets, Wizards, Pistons, Magic, and Bulls. Out. And Bulls. Okay, I was about to say.
And Bulls. That's 11 through 15. They're
okay.
Out. So 10, I got the Pacers.
Okay.
I think, like I said, the addition of Bruce Brown, I think is going to be helpful for them, but I don't see them unless Therese Halliburton has a fantastic season, which is possible. He's a very good player. I don't see them moving too much and making too much noise in the East. 9, I got the Heat. I think the Heat actually missed the playoffs this year. And we can talk about that throughout the season, of course, and especially when it comes over to March and April of next year. But I don't like this team. I just straight up do not like this team. 8, I got the Raptors. It wasn't honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if the Pacers and the Raptors switched places at 8 and 10. To be honest with you, not too much to like with the Raptors, but we'll see. They drafted what's his name, Grady Dick. We'll see how he does this season.
Hey, yo. Nah, I'm just struggling.
We got Pascal Siakam. See if he stays healthy and takes another step, which he hasn't really. And then 7, I got the Knicks. I don't think the Knicks are as good as they were last year.
Cap on my boy Julius.
Shit. Are you serious? Or are you capping?
Keep going.
All right. I don't like nothing about the Knicks. I'm gonna be straight up with you.
Okay.
But I think they make the playoffs, of course.
Okay.
6, I got the Nets. Now, I'm interested to see how the Nets, shake out this season with Mikal Bridges being number one option now. Ben Simmons coming back, of course, and see how it all comes together. If they plan on making a star out of Nick Claxton, I don't like that too much. We saw how that kind of ended up last year when you go up against a Joel Embiid, you know what I mean? So we'll see how that goes. 5 Hawks. I got the Hawks being a little bit better this year than they were last year. I think they're out of the play-in range. But ultimately, it's just a lot of questions with Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, that backcourt. I don't know. Why are you smiling like that?
Nah, man. Come on.
All right, 4. I got the Cavs again. I got y'all coming in at 4 again. I mean, nothing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just, of course, we talked about it before we got on. How you feel the Cavs made that step forward in the regular season, at least. And I think continuity will definitely help that. And I think getting off to a fast start will be huge. But I still got y'all beneath the Sixers at 3. Now this is pending. I don't know. We got to see how this James Harden situation shakes out and how much of a distraction it is. And if Joel Embiid stays healthy, of course, all this is pending health, obviously. But Joel, this is a big year for him. You know what I mean? You coming off an MVP. You get eliminated earlier than you expected in the playoffs. This is a big year for him, personally. With that organization. 2, I got the Bucks. I mentioned when we talked about the Drew trade and the Damian Lillard trade, that it'll take a little bit longer for the Bucks to get kind of moving. And that's why I got them behind the Celtics. And I still think Drew would kind of be a more seamless fit or quicker fit. And yeah, that's how I got shaken out. Celtics number 1 seed.
Okay. You want to go, Chris? You want me to take it away?
I'm interested to see this shit.
Okay, Chris. Let's hear it.
10. I got Orlando.
Okay.
I actually think they're a good team. They're very young, but I watched a couple of their actually a good bit of their games last year, and even the few games they played the Celtics. I mean, they beat us, and I could see the potential there. I'm looking for Ben Carroll to take another step. I think they're gonna be decent next year. I got the Raptors. I mean,
yeah,
they just, I don't know. I think they're just going. I think they'll win. They'll win their games or whatnot, but they're just not a good team.
They're
They
in
need
a
to do
weird
something
spot,
about,
man.
They just need to do
in a
something
weird
about that
spot.
squad. That squad got to. I don't know what they need to do, but
they're not ass enough, but they're not it. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and then 8 I have. 8 I got the Pacers.
Okay.
I mean they're still a young team. I'm looking for Tyrese to take another step. Did they say anything about Buddy?
They're not trading him.
Yeah, he's still on.
Not right now.
Yeah,
okay.
At least.
Well, I mean,
him and Miles, but of course Miles just got paid.
We'll see how that goes. 7 I got Brooklyn. I don't care that Ben Simmons coming back. Don't think that's gonna change nothing. But I do like Bridges. And I think they have a solid little core. They do need some paint presence though, because Nicholas Claxton. I mean, he just not big enough out there. They
too frail.
He is frail, boy.
What was that? 7.
Let him tell it. He all-star though. So we'll see.
Yeah, that was 7.
That was 7. Okay. 6. I got the Knicks at 6. I mean, I don't think they're. I don't know. I don't think they're as bad as y'all making it seem. It is something weird, but they got. I don't think they that bad. I mean, y'all hate Bronson. I get it.
I don't hate Bronson.
I don't hate him.
So now y'all don't hate him. Okay. But
I never hated Bronson. I just think
he's not 5. He's straight.
He's
straight.
Okay, that was 6.
Yeah.
5 I have Philly.
Okay.
I actually think The reason why I have Philly, I think James Harden's not going to be there.
That's fair.
And I think I just have. I mean, Tyrese Maxey is a good player. Obviously, we know who Joel Embiid is, but I think they're going to be missing a real bona fide scorer. And I don't.
And plate setter.
Right. So I just think they'll take a. I think they're gonna take a step back. That's just my opinion on that. Four. I actually have the Hawks 4.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean the Hawks are good. I mean
good at
that's
what?
just. Hey, they got Trey Young. That's all that matters.
Just
But
talking
nah,
shit. Okay.
I think the Hawks are a pretty good team. I think last year going through a coaching change that kind of
Mm-hmm.
didn't really balance out for them. But I think towards the end of the year, they started to get it together. Started to get things clicking. So I think they're gonna be good at 4. 3. I actually had the Celtics at 3, and the reason why I have them at 3 is because we have issues during the season. A lot of times we have
Wow.
these past few seasons we have bad lulls in the middle of the season where we go and start losing against random teams for whatever reason. I'm pretty sure we're gonna start off good and be number 1 seed, but by around late December, January, we just have problems. And
Let's see.
I mean, I
I'm
still won
expecting the
57
same.
games last year.
You said what?
I said you still won 57 games last year, regardless.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying as far as me just knowing my team, how it happens, we end up 2-3 seed. I mean, the last time we was 1 seed was some years ago. We usually around 2 or 3. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go with that. 2, I do got the Cavs. I fuck with your team, Shy. I fuck with your team. I fuck with them. I don't know when we play. Like I said,
Oh,
a lot of my stuff is
hell.
a lot of my stuff based on how I measure my team versus other teams. But if y'all can stay healthy at the beginning of the year, it's gonna do good for y'all. Y'all had some injuries starting off, and then I think that's where a lot of up and down went for you guys. But I think as long as y'all stay, relatively healthy, y'all gonna win some games.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Okay.
obviously at 1, I got the Bucks. I mean,
Damn. No love for Bulls.
trash,
You got the Heat. You got the Heat. Well, you got the Heat missing too.
trash, but
Oh
they are
man.
garbo. I'm sorry, no, they're not good.
Okay.
They gonna have to fix some stuff on both of those squads. They gonna have to fix something. I don't know what it is. I mean, you can scream Heat culture all you want, but them same Heat culture players that folks talking about not even there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So
We gonna see.
Okay.
We gonna see.
Shot.
Okay. Okay. I like your list, Chris. I like your list.
Of course you like it. What's your cap at?
So
Looking like.
I'm gonna start off with number 10. And number 10, I have Brooklyn. I do think Brooklyn has a good team. I do think Brooklyn. If anybody hasn't been a Ben Simmons fan, it's been me, at least out of our group. But I am excited to see Ben. I think finally he's got an opportunity with the Nets to. There's not going to be that many eyes. Obviously, KD and Kyrie are gone. He's out of the limelight with the 76ers, so he actually gets an opportunity. He says he's fully healthy now, so he gets an opportunity to kind of ease his way back in, kind of under the radar. But ultimately, like you said, Mikal Bridges being their number 1, he's a dog. I ain't trying to hate. I definitely do think he'll make another step after the USA, summer. But with that being said, I just don't think that they have enough just yet. Damn, Chris, you really try to steal my thunder, man. Number 9, I got the Orlando Magic. Yeah,
Oh.
you really try to steal my thunder. So Orlando, obviously, we all know Paolo was number 1 draft pick last year. I think he actually makes a really big step this year. Obviously, he was also, you'll see a theme that I like. I like when guys go to, especially young guys, go to USA and come back.
Yeah.
They typically take that next step. I do think that he does, as well as his team, Markel Fultz. He's looking even better
Yeah.
and better. And obviously, they still got Suggs. I mean, they've got a young squad. They're obviously all going to keep progressing. I do think that they finally make a push for the playoffs with all that talent. At number 8, I do have the Miami Heat getting back in. I agree with Chris that they're not a very good team, but at the end of the day, it's still Eric Spoelstra is still arguably the best coach in the league, which is saying something because Pop's been missing the playoffs and he's been the best coach in the league for some time. But I do think that they sneak in. I don't think that they make the playoffs. I do think they make the play in. Though, so sneak peek to the playoff predictions. But with that being said, another team that we've all had in there was the Pacers. Pacers were a really good team last year, early on before Therese Halliburton got hurt, and then they kind of tumbled. They had a big tumble in the back half of the season, which obviously we see a lot of times with young teams anyway. But I do think that Ben takes another step. I also think they've got some good young talent with Walker and Miles. It seems like we've been saying Miles has been fucking young for forever.
Yeah.
Miles, obviously they've got Buddy Hill, he'll be coming off the bench now. They've
Obi
got a
Toppin.
pretty Obi Toppin's coming over. They've got a young squad. They've got a pretty deep young squad as well as mixed with a couple veterans. So I do think they make the push for the playoffs this year and get in. At number 6, I've got the team that the Cavs lost to, and the Knicks. They got to, they were a good enough team to get to number 5. They were a good enough team to make it to the second round and, get a couple games off of Miami. I mean, anybody that watched the season last year, they were not a better team than the Cavs. They probably were a better team than the Heat, but the Cavs folded big time. I don't think that they'll do that. I mean, not necessarily saying the Cavs won't fold, but I definitely don't think that the Knicks are a good enough team that we should be expecting them to take another step after being one of the Final Four teams in the Eastern Conference. With that being said, at number 5, I've got the Atlanta Hawks. I think all of the Hawks young players kind of take another step in Jalen Johnson and DeAndre Hunter. He's not necessarily a young player, but just him finding more consistency. I think that them having that continuity with having Quinn for the whole offseason is going to be big. AJ Griffin, I think, also takes another step. And Sadiq Bey, once again, just being with the team for a full year, I think that they'll start to they'll kind of mesh together. And then obviously another year with the backcourt of Trey and DeJounte Murray with a full season once again with Quinn, I think will be good for them. Number 4, obviously this is where we get into the big 4. I've got the 76ers. The 76ers will obviously on the back of Joel Embiid. We don't know what's going on with James Harden. And that'll loom over the season until obviously it's resolved whether he goes to the Clippers or ends up signing a contract or something, whatever it could be. But they'll get into the playoffs. Joel Embiid, obviously he's an MVP. I feel like you're hating on my boy Maxey. Maxey's a bona fide scorer. He's a bona fide dog.
Nice, man.
I think he'll take another step. And ultimately, I do think that they'll be a little bit better with Nick Nurse, maybe not in terms of record, but in terms of the team itself. But at number 3, my number 3, unfortunately, is the Celtics. I agree. My number 3 is the Celtics. The Celtics, and obviously at this point, the big 3 we know is the Bucks, or going to be the Bucks, Celtics, and the Cavs. Celtics obviously made the big pickup of getting Porzingis and getting Drew Holiday, as well as getting rid of some of their core guys with Marcus Smart. And then Peyton Pritchard, obviously, they're expecting him to kind of take on a bigger role coming into the season. So it's going to be a lot of moving parts for the Celtics. They're a good enough team. They're talented enough that they'll obviously get into the third spot that I have them in. But there's, like you kind of mentioned, you said that they have lows. There will be some growing pains, I do believe, just having a new a different ball handler than they've had for the past 7-8 years.
Right.
And then obviously, Brogdon's gone as well. So it's definitely gonna be some growing pains. Obviously, a full off season with the coach as well. So I definitely think that they'll, like I said, have some growing pains there. At number two, I've got the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers, and one thing I do, and I'm going to mention this a little bit as I get into a little bit more of the Cavs. The Cavs, out of all of the big three or big four, if you want to include the 76ers in that, are the team that has the most continuity.
Yeah.
And honestly, obviously the Bucks had a lot of injuries last year. If the Cavs didn't have the same injuries and Garland, obviously he missed about a week or two early on. I think that him and Mitchell would have came into the season playing better together, and we will see that a lot more this year. And we will see Garland kind of command the ball a little bit more. Excuse me. I also think that the offense. One thing that a lot of people don't talk about is the Cavs were a really good offense last year, as well as one of the best defenses in the league. They had the second best net rating, or plus minus in the league. And that's something that I was even saying the year before we got Donovan Mitchell. I know I used to make the jokes about the Cavalanche and blah, blah, blah. But, before the Cavs got into some of their injuries, they were blowing teams out. Like it really wasn't a contest for a lot of these games. And these weren't just like scrubs. It was good teams. We got to sell the same thing last year. I do think Evan Mobley takes another step. I think Garland takes another step. Both of them, obviously, they had disappointing disappointing playoff run, and including Mitchell. I think he has to take another step for his career in general. And then the spacing, it's going to be a lot more spacing with Max Strus and Imani Bates and Jordan Niang's coming over. We already saw a little bit about that in the first preseason game yesterday. So one more thing I do want to add is, and I think it's funny that you mentioned it, Chris, about how the Cavs kind of matched up with the Celtics. A lot of people are saying that Drew Holiday, and last year I had said that the Celtics, if the Cavs and the Celtics played, that it might go the way of the Cavs because of how they played in the regular season and because of that kind of the mismatch between, Marcus Smart couldn't do nothing. They couldn't do nothing with Donovan Mitchell. So I want to say that, a lot of people have been saying Drew Holiday kind of for Dame. Drew Holiday is more for Mitchell. I'm just saying that, just something to think about. But with that being said, the number one seed is going to be the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, they've been the number one seed. It feels like every year. Giannis, he's probably the best player in the league, and then gets a sniper in Damian Lillard. I do think that the fit will be seamless, and ultimately they're going to be number one like always. And then when we get into our playoff predictions, we'll see where they land for the year.
No, I mean, honestly, just looking at because I roll all our down. We're not terrible. I mean, that's just the Eastern Conference though. Like the West is going to be a completely different story. I know it.
But, yeah, West is going to be
it's going to be like we're going to have probably
interesting.
It's going to be all over the place. But like we're not too far off. I mean, even our teams 7 through 10, like the play-in teams, it's up in the air. We really don't know. Like, I mean, it's about the same, but like.
There is something that I did want to mention because you did talk a little bit about those other teams, 11 through 15 or whatever.
Yeah.
Bulls, they're just in an unfortunate position, so I'm not going to speak too much on them. But the Pistons really could make some noise because Cade Cunningham, Monty Williams coming over there. Obviously, they've got a pool of young guys that could all be. Cade. Obviously, Cade. Everybody thought Cade was going to be that dude. He was obviously the first pick in his draft class. Jaden Ivey. So it's going to. The Pistons could definitely make noise and end up in the playoffs. Yeah, exactly. Bogdanovich, they still got over there. They picked up Wiseman last year. Stewart, Jalen Duren. I mean, they've got a lot of young talent.
They got a lot of young players.
The Hornets.
they're having an off season. They're having a hell of an off season.
Yeah. So there's not too much to talk about with them. I think. I mean, Lamelo. I mean, god damn. You had Brandon Miller after coming off of his trials and tribulations at Alabama, just to come and he wants to probably come into something that's stable and he doesn't have to deal with that. Now you got Kai Jones. I don't.
That boy drunk.
I
don't pray
talk,
for that man.
Bad about anybody's mental health, and obviously what we see, we don't necessarily know, but we all go to assume that there's maybe something wrong. But obviously he just got cut today, so that's a little interesting. And then Miles Bridges, he just got arrested. So I mean that remains to be seen, but.
There's a lot going on with them, man. Like that Kai Jones stuff came out of nowhere. That's a first round pick that you just got
gone.
Of.
Basically,
it's gone. Like mental health is serious. I get all that, but
it's interesting.
That brother crazy.
But interestingly enough, and we can kind of end on this, is I'm surprised nobody. I'm not necessarily surprised, but at least in the play-in, nobody has faith in the Wizards.
I was thinking about when I was making my list, I was looking at the roster, and of course, they added Jordan Poole. We still got Kyle Kuzma there, and it's like they could make some Denny Avia, they could make some noise. I don't think their defense is. I don't think the defense is going to be the problem, and that's going to really they'll be able to put up a lot of points. They're gonna be able to score, but they ain't stopping shit. Stopping shit, and that's gonna I wouldn't be surprised if they made it 10. If they have a better record than, let's say, the Raptors, or because I had the Raptors at that 8 to 10 range, they have a better record. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't see the Wizards making it that far.
Okay,
they'll be fun to watch though. They'll definitely be fun to watch. Definitely a lead pass. I just want to check them out at least in the beginning of the season and see what the hell Jordan Poole will do. Now that the ball's in his court.
You're right.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's a wrap on episode 6 of the Speak Up Sports Podcast. Looking forward to some great games this weekend in the NFL. We'll catch some of the preseason of the NBA, and unfortunately, we didn't talk too much about it or talk about it at all. But the Braves looking like they might go outside in the MLB playoffs this year.
We'll see.
But looking forward to seeing you guys next week, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. Bryce Harper, monster.
Yeah, he is. Yes, sir.